I'm starting to look at ideas for what can I do with all my video gear, and one idea was to do sort of like a travel web show. I've seen a couple other people on Twitter that are doing that, and that'd be pretty fun. Still trying to decide how to do the marketing side of that. So that's one option. And since I do live in the Seattle area, actually right now I'm in Tacoma, but I lived on Queen Anne Hill for the last 2 or 3 years, so I know the Seattle scene pretty well. And it kind of occurred to me that people travel to Seattle as a destination. And since I'm already here, I could go around and shoot video of all the places they might like to see, and so they would know where they wanted to go before they got here. So that's one idea, and it would be real easy to do. I could just literally walk around with just me and the camera and shoot some stuff, and then, like I am now, sit in front of the camera and narrate it and, explain where we're at, and, this is the aquarium, and, so on. This is what it costs to get here and what the hours are and so on. Marketing idea on that, especially for some of the smaller towns, it might be hard to do with actually Seattle, but if you could talk to the smaller towns around Seattle that had a Chamber of Commerce or a tourism board or some of the business downtown association type places, there might be funding there where you could bring in tourism money and actually create a video for Little Town USA. So then I would say, okay, I'm going to just pick the ones I can get to within driving distance first, drive to them, shoot some background video, talk to the local businesses, maybe walk into some of the clubs and the bars and the restaurants, and if they got a water park, shoot some video of kids sliding down the water slide, or that kind of thing, and then create the video, make the DVD, put it up on YouTube and so on, and make it available to that town to then, like Chamber of Commerce's people, talk to them, say, hey, we want to see what your town looks like. Oh, hey, we got this great video, and so then they send it off. And if I do it at cost and give it to them for $2 over cost or something like that, then I'd have actually repeat business, which in my business right now would be really great, because I spend so much time editing, and then I'm done, and then I have no more clients, and then I'm just waiting for a new client to come in. And like right now, this is the beginning of 2009. I'm seeing that a lot of people are scared to commit to anything because they don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months, because they don't know if they have a job, or their stocks just vaporized, or that kind of thing. So shifting from weddings to other lines of business, I think, is going to be a good idea for me. So that's one idea. In 2008, I got to do a few out-of-town jobs, and that worked out well. So I can definitely see, if somebody is in, Florida or, New York or wherever, and if I had something that fit their needs, it's not that big of a deal for me to throw a couple cameras in a backpack and jump on an airplane and, be someplace for a couple $100. And if my cost is competitive, then that actually makes sense. In 2008, I was in Detroit twice, and in Washington, D.C., Maryland area once on video projects, because I had actually, in that case, I had personal relationships with both people where I had met them earlier on another job, and so it made sense for them to just use me because they knew already what I had, as opposed to starting over fresh in a new market. So that is that. There was some pictures on my website about my van. I'm considering taking my Chevy conversion van and setting it up like a portable studio that I could work out of. So if I had a job out of town where I was going to be out there for a few days, I could sit there with my laptop, or actually set up a full-size computer in there and have a portable office that I could work from. And I actually can sleep in the back of it, so if it was a situation where I was going to be out for 3 or 4 days, I could just sleep in the van and that kind of thing. So there was the Hurricane Katrina documentary that I shot a few years ago now. That's up on YouTube and also on my website. Lots of information about that. That's kind of where the van idea came from. I was gone from home for 40 days. I covered like 18 or 19 states, getting there and back. And quite often I slept in the van, and just, to keep the money, the expenses down. So I learned a lot of tricks on that, and so between the travel video, or if just somebody, say California wants to hire me for a few days, it's actually cost competitive for me to drive there and have all my gear in the van instead of having to fly and then check extra bags. Like for instance, the Washington D.C. trip, I took the big tripod and the big camera and stuff and a bunch of cabling, and I packed as light as I could, and I still had to check one extra bag, and I had to pay excess weight on the bag. So, if it cost me an extra $100 to fly, and especially now with the price of gas not being too bad, I could see driving someplace in 2 days and bringing all my gear instead of having to fly there and then having no car. So that actually makes sense.